The galaxy had grown used to Earth's silence. For 2.5 centuries, signals were sent toward the blue world, yet no answer ever came. To many, Earth was nothing more than a quiet place circling a yellow star. Among the stars, civilizations rose and joined the great web of communication. Planets thousands of light years apart spoke with one another through long streams of light and energy. Records of history, maps of trade, and music of countless species traveled in shining waves. Yet Earth remained apart, sending no greeting, giving no sign that humans still lived. Stories formed around the silence. Some said humans had destroyed themselves before they could step far from their home. Others claimed humans had never been more than dreamers, too fragile to endure the great trials of space. A few suggested Earth had always been empty, and tales of humans were only myths. Over time, the question lost its weight. New voices filled the galaxy, and Earth became only a quiet name in ancient records. But not all forgot. The ship Ketherad traveled between young star systems, gathering history for the Galactic Council. Its crew was made of many species, each trained to seek knowledge. Their journey was long, and often their task was slow, but curiosity kept them moving. When the ship entered the Sol system, its members prepared to mark Earth as another silent world and move on. From the viewing deck, the planet looked calm. Wide oceans shimmered in the light of the sun. White clouds rolled across green and brown land. The world seemed alive, yet no signal came from it. The crew stood in silence as they watched. Juno, a tall figure with deep gray eyes, leaned forward. "Strange," Juno said. "A world with this much water, this much color, and still no voice." Beside Juno, Lena adjusted the records. She was quiet by nature, yet her mind was sharp. "The signals we sent before reached here long ago," she said. "If humans survived, they would have had time to answer. Perhaps they never wanted to." Another member, Taro, tapped the glass with one hand, studying the shape of the continents. "The stories say humans once sent small probes out," he said. "If they had the skill to send those, then they should have been able to reply." The group turned their thoughts over in silence. They had seen ruined planets before. They had recorded histories where voices were cut short. Yet something about Earth did not feel empty. It felt waiting. Captain Omar entered the deck, his step steady. "Record Earth as silent," he said, his voice calm. "Our duty is to keep the history true. We do not fill silence with guesses." The crew nodded. Yet as they turned to leave, Juno kept watching the blue planet. The world seemed too alive to be without voice. The ship's instruments finished their scan. Records were stored, signals were logged, and the Kethera prepared to turn away. Outside the windows, the Earth rolled slowly beneath them, bright in the sunlight. Then something happened. A soft tone rose across the ship's systems. It was not strong, yet it was clear. Every screen flickered with a pattern of light. The tone grew into a sound, a rhythm that did not match any known species. The crew froze in place, listening. The sound shaped itself into a voice. It was steady, calm, and it carried the accent of no one they knew. "This is Earth," the voice said. "We hear you." For a moment, no one moved. The words felt heavy, carrying the weight of centuries. Lena's hands trembled as she wrote down the message. Juno's eyes widened, filled with surprise. Even Captain Omar, who had led many journeys, stood without words. The voice continued, not rushed, not loud. "We thank those who have spoken to us across time. We have listened. We are ready to speak. The crew exchanged quick glances. They had expected silence, perhaps ruins, but not this. Earth had not only answered, it had spoken with a tone of calm certainty. Taro leaned closer to the instruments. "It is real," he whispered. "This is not a reflection or a trick. It is from the planet itself." The voice faded, and silence returned. Yet the silence no longer felt empty. It felt alive, as if the whole planet had been holding its breath and had just begun to release it. Captain Omar's steady hands rested on the console. "Record everything," he said quietly. "Do not lose a single note. The council must hear this." The crew obeyed at once, though their minds were still filled with wonder. They had expected to write the last words of a forgotten world. Instead, they had been the first to hear Earth's reply. The planet turned slowly below them, unchanged in sight, yet no longer the same. The silence of 250 years had ended. The Kethero lingered in orbit, its crew still listening, waiting for more. They did not know if Earth would speak again soon or remain quiet once more. But one truth was clear. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had chosen the moment. And now, everything in the galaxy would change. The message from Earth spread across the ship Kethero like fire through dry grass. The crew could hardly believe it. For centuries, Earth had been silent, and now it spoke with a voice that was calm, steady, and alive. In the control room, Lena replayed the message again and again. Each time the same voice filled the air. "This is Earth. We hear you. We thank those who have spoken to us across time. We have listened. We are ready to speak." Taro leaned close to the screen, his face lit by the pale glow. "The voice is human," he said. "But it carries layers. Listen here, beneath the words." He pointed at the sound waves dancing across the display. "There are patterns behind the speech, like music, like threads of thought." Juno crossed their arms, studying the patterns with sharp eyes. "No other species has spoken this way," Juno said. "It is more than a greeting. It is almost a code." Captain Omar stood near the window, his gaze on the turning planet below. His voice was calm, yet there was a weight behind it. For 250 years, they waited. They chose silence. Now they answer, and they do not answer with weakness. The crew sat in silence for a moment, feeling the truth in his words. Earth had not been forgotten. Earth had been listening. Lena's hands moved quickly across the console as she prepared the report. "The Galactic Council will want to know at once," she said. "This message will reach every world. The silence of Earth has always been a question. Now it will become a storm." Taro gave a small smile. "A storm of voices, yes. Some will be curious, some afraid. Some may not wish for humans to return at all." Juno's eyes narrowed. "That is true. Many believed humans had vanished. To hear them now may disturb the balance of the council." Omar turned from the window. "It is not for us to judge. Our task is to bring truth. We will send the recording. But we must also prepare. There may be more." As if in answer to his words, the screens flickered again. The same calm voice returned, yet this time the message was longer. "We are Earth," the voice said. "We have waited until the time was right. We have watched the stars. We have learned your languages. We are ready for meeting." The crew leaned closer. The voice was warm, but it carried quiet strength. It was not the sound of a desperate people, but of one that had chosen its moment. Lena whispered softly, "They were never lost. They were preparing. The message ended with a short tone, almost like the chime of a bell. Then silence returned once more. Taro broke it with a nervous laugh. First they say nothing for centuries. Now they speak as if they have been ready all along. What kind of people wait in silence while the galaxy grows louder every year? Juno gave a short answer. A people who are patient. Or a people who are cautious. Omar nodded slowly. Or a people who know the power of choice. The Kethera's communication system sent the recordings toward the council, light streaming across the void. In a matter of weeks, the entire network of worlds would hear Earth's voice. But inside the ship, the crew felt they were already standing on the edge of history. Lena closed her eyes for a moment, hearing the message in her mind. The voice had sounded human, yet more than human, shaped by years of silence. It carried a rhythm she could not place, as if words and music had been woven into one. She opened her eyes again. I wonder how much they know of us, she said quietly. Taro answered her without looking away from the screen. If they listened all this time, perhaps they know too much. Juno frowned, but their voice was thoughtful. It is possible. If Earth stayed silent while hearing us, then they may have learned the strengths and weaknesses of many worlds. That knowledge would give them power. Omar placed a firm hand on the console. Knowledge is not always power, he said. It can be wisdom. It can be patience. Let us not fear them before we understand them. The others nodded, though the question remained heavy in their thoughts. As the ship orbited the blue planet, its oceans glittered like mirrors beneath the sun. The silence felt different now. It no longer carried mystery alone. It carried promise. The crew could feel it, though they did not yet know what kind of promise it was. The voice from Earth had said they were ready for meeting. That meant there would be more, perhaps even an invitation. The council would soon send ships, leaders, and questions. The galaxy would turn its eyes back toward Earth, the world once silent. Lena leaned back in her chair and let out a slow breath. When the council hears this, she said, nothing will remain the same. Taro gave a small nod. And Earth knows it. That is why they waited. That is why they chose this moment. Omar's voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of truth. When a voice waits this long, it is never by accident. When it speaks, the meaning is deep. We must be ready to hear it. Outside, the earth turned, quiet yet alive. The stars seemed to lean closer, as if they too wished to hear the next word. The silence of 2 centuries had ended, and the galaxy stood waiting. The voice of Earth did not fade into history. It grew. The recording sent by the Kethera reached the Galactic Council weeks later, and in every chamber, on every world, it was played again and again. This is Earth. We hear you. We thank those who have spoken to us across time. We have listened. We are ready to speak. The words were simple, but their weight was heavy. For centuries, Earth had been a mystery, a silent planet with no reply. Now, after 250 years, humans had spoken with calm strength. The galaxy was unsettled. In the Great Hall of the Council, leaders of many species gathered. The room was shaped like a circle, with light flowing down from the high glass ceiling. Holograms of distant stars shimmered above the floor. Every seat was filled, and the air was tense. A tall delegate with scales across her face leaned forward. We reached out to Earth long ago. They refused to answer. Why now? Why after all this time? Another delegate, with pale wings folded close, raised his voice. They chose silence. That alone is troubling. What kind of world listens to us for centuries and speaks only when it suits them? Others argued. Some called it wise. Some called it dangerous. Some said Earth should be welcomed, while others said Earth should be feared. The sound of voices filled the chamber until the council leader raised his hand. The hall grew quiet. The leader's voice was steady. We cannot ignore this. Earth has broken its silence. And now there is more. At his signal, a second message played. This one had arrived after the first, a direct signal from Earth itself. The same calm human voice filled the hall. We are Earth. We invite observers to our world. Come in peace, and you will be received in peace. Come with open eyes, and you will be shown who we are. The time of silence is over. The message ended with the soft chime again, like a bell ringing across the stars. The council chamber fell into silence once more. The meaning was clear. Earth had not only spoken, they had called the galaxy to visit. It was an invitation, simple yet powerful. The winged delegate shook his head slowly. An invitation after centuries of hiding. Do they mean friendship, or do they mean to test us? The scaled delegate tapped the table. No species gives such a call without reason. They have waited, and now they open their doors. We must decide what this means for us all. Voices rose again, but among them a calm one stood out. It belonged to a small figure seated near the circle's edge, the historian delegate. We record many young species, he said. Most call out too soon, unready for the weight of the galaxy. They grow quickly and often fall quickly. But Earth has done the opposite. They waited. They listened. Perhaps we should not call it hiding. Perhaps we should call it patience. His words stirred the chamber. The idea spread from seed to seed. Perhaps Earth was not silent out of fear, but out of choice. In the end, the council made a decision. Observers would go to Earth. Not soldiers, not conquerors, but representatives from many worlds. They would answer the invitation and see what humans wished to show. The Kethera, being the first to hear the human voice, was chosen to lead the mission. Its crew was honored, though they also felt the weight of responsibility. When the order reached them, Captain Omar gathered his crew in the meeting hall of the ship. The room was small compared to the council chamber, yet the moment felt just as important. Omar looked at each of them in turn. Juno, sharp-eyed and thoughtful. Lena, quiet but wise. Taro, always curious. Their faces were steady, though their hearts carried wonder and unease. The council has spoken, Omar said. We will return to Earth, not alone this time, but with others. Delegates from across the stars will follow. The humans have asked us to meet them. We must be ready. Lena's voice was soft but sure. When they spoke, it was not with fear. It was with certainty. They want us to come. They are prepared for this moment. Taro leaned forward, his hands tight on the table. What if their knowledge is greater than we think? They listened for centuries. They may know more of us than we know of them. Juno nodded slowly. That is possible. But knowledge does not always mean danger. It may mean understanding. Perhaps they waited so that when they spoke, their words would carry meaning for all. Omar listened to them, then gave a firm nod. We do not go to judge. We go to learn. And we must remember this, no matter what Earth shows us, we are witnessing the end of silence and the start of something new. The crew agreed, though the thought of meeting humans for the first time filled each of them with a mix of hope and unease. From the viewing deck, The earth turned below, blue and alive. Its oceans shimmered, its clouds rolled, its lands stretched wide. A world that had been silent now called the stars to visit. In the dark of space, ships from other worlds began to prepare for the journey. Soon, the skies of Earth would hold voices from across the galaxy. And soon, for the first time in history, the galaxy would hear the humans not in whispers of myth, but in words face to face. The invitation had been given. The answer was on its way. The skies of Earth were no longer empty. Ships from across the galaxy arrived, their shapes shining against the deep black of space. Some were long and thin, built for speed. Others were wide and heavy, made for carrying people and supplies. Each carried a delegate, an observer chosen to answer the human invitation. From the surface, the planet looked calm. Oceans stretched bright and blue, forests covered the lands, and clouds rolled like white rivers. But above the clouds, the air was filled with ships. The Kethera moved among them, guiding the way. Captain Omar spoke with clear instructions, his voice steady. Follow the signal. The humans have given us a path. They guide us to the meeting place. The path was strange. Instead of leading toward a city or a base, the human signal drew the visitors toward the ocean. The ships descended into orbit above wide waters that shone like glass under the sunlight. Lena watched from the deck window. "Why here?" she asked softly. "Why not a place of stone or towers? Why not a capital?" Juno studied the pattern of signals on the screen. Perhaps they wish to show their world itself before they show themselves. This is not about stone. This is about trust. Taro leaned forward with wide eyes. Or it is about control. The ocean is open. If anything happens, the humans keep the advantage. Omar did not reply at once. He watched the waves below, stretching farther than the eye could see. At last he said, "Perhaps it is both. Trust and control often walk together." The fleet of ships reached the coordinates. A wide circle of calm water spread below, marked by light that shimmered in gentle patterns. From the center of the water, a platform rose. It was smooth and bright, shaped like a ring, large enough to hold delegates from many worlds. The ship slowed, hovering above the circle. A message came across all channels, clear and calm. It was the human voice again. "Welcome. You are invited to stand on Earth. Land your vessels near the platform. Come in peace. We will meet you there." The voice faded, leaving a quiet that pressed against every heart. Omar gave the order. "Prepare for descent." The Kethera moved lower, settling near the ring platform. Other ships followed, landing with care. Soon the waters reflected not only the sun but also the shadows of vessels from many worlds. One by one, the delegates stepped out onto the smooth platform. The surface was firm, though it floated gently with the motion of the sea. Around them, the ocean stretched wide, endless, and clear. It was both peaceful and humbling. Lena stepped onto the platform and breathed in the air. It was fresh, carrying the salt of the sea and the warmth of the sun. "This world is alive," she whispered. Juno scanned the horizon, their sharp eyes never still. "Alive, yes. But still no sign of them. Where are the humans?" As if answering, a sound rose across the air. It was not a single note but many, woven together like voices in harmony. The sound seemed to come from the waves themselves. From the edge of the platform, small vessels glided across the water. They were sleek and white, moving without sails or engines. From the vessels stepped figures. They were human. The delegates leaned forward, whispering among themselves. Humans were shorter than many species, their bodies soft compared to scaled or armored races. Yet there was no weakness in the way they walked. They moved with calm steps, their faces steady, their eyes bright with thought. At their front was a woman with dark hair tied back and a calm smile. Her voice carried across the platform, warm yet strong. "We welcome you. I am Myra, speaking for Earth." The name spread quickly through the gathering. Myra stepped closer, raising her hands in greeting. "For many years, we chose silence. Today, we choose to speak. You are our guests. You are welcome to see our world as we wish you to see it. We ask only for peace in return." The delegates stood in silence, studying her. Some had expected humans to be desperate, eager for help. Others had expected pride or arrogance. Instead they found a calm presence, patient and unshaken. Taro whispered to Lena, "They are not afraid." Lena nodded, her eyes fixed on Myra. "No. They are ready." Myra's gaze moved across the gathering, meeting the eyes of many. Her words were simple, but each seemed chosen with care. "You may walk here. You may speak here. But remember, this is Earth. We will show ourselves in our own way." The ocean sparkled around them. The sky was wide and blue. On the platform, the galaxy and Earth faced one another at last. Juno's voice was low as they spoke to Omar. "This is not a people who were silent because they were weak. This is a people who held their silence because they knew when to break it." Omar gave a slow nod. His eyes never left Myra. "Yes," he said softly. "And now we must learn why." The first meeting had begun. The gathering on the ocean platform was quiet. Delegates from many worlds stood waiting as the humans faced them with calm eyes. Myra, the chosen voice of Earth, stood at the center. The waves rolled gently around the platform, carrying a rhythm that seemed to echo her steady tone. She spoke without rush. "For centuries, your signals reached us. We heard greetings, warnings, and the songs of many worlds. You wondered why we did not reply. You thought we were gone or weak. But the truth is different." Her words hung in the air, drawing every ear closer. No one moved. Even the sound of the waves seemed softer, as if the ocean itself wished to listen. "We did not speak," Myra continued, "because we chose not to. Silence was our decision. We saw how voices shape those who speak too soon. A young world, rushing into the chorus of the stars, may lose itself. We did not wish for that. So we listened. We learned. We waited." A ripple of whispers moved through the delegates. The scaled envoy leaned toward her neighbor. They chose silence. They turned away from all connection by their own will. The winged envoy narrowed his bright eyes. Or perhaps they lacked the strength and now cover it with fine words. But Myra heard the whispers and did not falter. Her gaze swept across the circle. "While you spoke, we listened. While you traded, we studied. We learned your languages, your patterns, your mistakes. We saw empires grow too quickly and fall too quickly. We saw voices rise in pride and vanish in silence. And we understood this: patience is power." Lena, standing among the Kethera crew, felt her breath catch. The words were simple, yet they struck like truth carved in stone. Taro whispered to Juno, "They were never absent. They were preparing." Juno's sharp eyes did not leave Myra. "Yes. And now we see what preparation means." Myra lifted one hand toward the horizon. "Look at our world. You see forests alive, oceans clean, skies clear. This is not chance. While we were silent, we healed what was broken. We built without rushing. We grew without reaching too far too fast. The silence gave us balance. The delegates looked out over the sea. The water was bright and endless. The air itself seemed purer than the air of most worlds. For the first time, they understood why Earth had waited. The historian delegate stepped forward, his small frame dwarfed by others around him. His voice was gentle but filled with wonder. You mean that while the galaxy moved in noise, you found strength in quiet? Myra's smile was faint but sure. Yes. The galaxy taught us without knowing. Every signal you sent became our book. Every word you spoke became our lesson. We did not need to rush into the circle of voices. We needed only to listen until we were ready to add our own. The winged envoy shook his head, his wings rustling with unease. If this is true, then Earth has been gathering knowledge of us all while giving none in return. That is not patience. That is secrecy. Myra turned to him, her eyes calm. It was both. But secrecy is not always harm. Would you rather we had come unready, fragile, and then fallen like so many before? We chose the harder path, not the easier. We chose silence so that when we spoke, our voice would endure. Her words silenced even the envoy. No one could answer at once. Lena felt a quiet shiver. For the first time, she saw the shape of human thought. It was not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a seed growing in the soil, unseen until the day it broke the surface. Taro leaned closer to her and whispered, "If this is true, they may know more about us than we know about ourselves." Lena's eyes stayed on Myra. Yes. And that is why they are not afraid. The conversation on the platform grew softer as delegates exchanged thoughts. Some were uneasy, some curious, and some almost admiring. The truth was clear: humanity had not been forgotten by accident. They had written their own silence like a story waiting for its first word. Myra gave her final thought with steady tone. We are not here to rule. We are not here to hide. We are here to take our place, not above, not below, but among. We waited so that when we came, we would come whole. That is our choice. Her words rested in the hearts of those who heard them. They did not sound like pride. They sounded like a path walked with care. Omar, standing with his crew, let out a slow breath. His voice was low, almost to himself. This is what silence can mean. Not weakness. Not fear. But strength shaped by time. The ocean shimmered under the sunlight. The delegates stood on the platform, caught between doubt and respect. For the first time, they began to see Earth not as a lost voice, but as a voice that had waited to change the chorus forever. The revelation was clear: silence had been Earth's greatest choice. And now, that choice was over. The platform on Earth remained calm, yet the air carried tension. Delegates from many worlds had gathered, some with curiosity, others with quiet suspicion. Myra and her team of humans stood at the center, their calm presence a contrast to the uncertainty surrounding them. A small, sleek ship approached the platform. It carried representatives from a species known for testing newcomers. The envoy stepped onto the platform, their eyes sharp, scanning every detail. You humans have listened for centuries, the envoy said, voice firm. You have remained hidden while the galaxy moved forward. Tell me, what proof have we that your words are true? What proof that your patience did not hide weakness? Myra did not flinch. Her voice carried across the platform, steady and clear. Proof is not shown in weapons or force. Proof is shown in choice. We have chosen to prepare, to learn, and to grow. We are ready to share what we have learned, not through conquest, but through understanding. The envoy narrowed their eyes, unconvinced. Many delegates whispered among themselves. Could humans truly demonstrate power without relying on strength? Taro stepped beside Lena, whispering, "They expect challenge. They want to see if Earth is weak." Juno's gaze stayed on the humans. Weakness is not always measured by muscle or fire. Sometimes it is measured by wisdom, and strength comes from knowledge. Myra raised her hands calmly. "We will show you our understanding. Watch, listen, and you will see what patience has made possible." The humans moved to a nearby console, one shaped like a globe, but not like any known device. They activated it, and instantly, light spread across the surface of the planet, connecting to streams of energy visible in the air above. "This is our network," Myra said. "We have listened to signals from many worlds. We have learned languages, cultures, and patterns. We have studied how knowledge flows and how mistakes are repeated. Today, we offer insight, not threat." Delegates leaned closer, watching the display. Words, images, and sequences appeared in layers, showing not only Earth's understanding of the galaxy but also the innovations humans had created by combining knowledge from many species. Lena whispered to Taro, "They have prepared for centuries. Every detail, every lesson, is here." Taro's eyes widened. "They could teach us all. They could solve problems faster than any council." The testing envoy looked uneasy. "This is cleverness," they said. "It is knowledge. But how do we know it is true? How do we know it is not illusion?" Myra's voice remained calm, yet carried strength. "Truth is not in proving force. Truth is in the results. Observe." The humans pressed another panel, and suddenly a holographic map appeared. It showed a path through the stars, using signals from multiple civilizations. The route was faster and safer than any known navigation method. Delegates gasped. Even the skeptical envoy stared in disbelief. "You have taken the knowledge of others and improved it," they said. "That is unexpected." Myra nodded. "We did not steal. We listened. We learned. We combined. That is how humans grow. Patience gave us time to understand fully before we acted. This is the strength of our choice." The historian delegate stepped forward. "I have studied civilizations across the galaxy. I have seen pride lead to ruin. And now, I see patience lead to creation. This is remarkable." The testing envoy's sharp gaze softened. "Perhaps you are not weak," they admitted. "Perhaps your silence was a form of strength." Myra smiled faintly. "Silence is neither weakness nor threat. It is a path we chose. And now that we speak, we show that choice has its power." Omar, standing with his crew, whispered to Lena, "This is why they waited. This is why they did not speak for centuries. They prepared not to dominate, but to inspire." The ocean reflected the light of the ships above. The platform glowed softly, carrying the sense of calm and purpose that humans radiated. For the first time, delegates from across the galaxy began to understand that humanity's power lay not in strength or speed, but in wisdom, patience, and the ability to learn from others. The testing envoy finally nodded. "You have shown us something new. The galaxy has underestimated humans. That is now clear." Myra stepped back, letting the words settle. "We do not wish to dominate. We wish to participate. We wish to share. That is the purpose of our voice now. It is time for the galaxy to hear humanity not in silence, but in action. The delegates exchanged glances. Some were thoughtful. Some were impressed. Even the most skeptical could not deny what they had seen. Outside, the sun reflected off the ocean. The platform, the humans, and the delegates together created a vision of understanding that would be remembered for generations. Humanity had faced the test without weapons, without force, and had shown that knowledge, patience, and careful choice could change perception across the stars. The turning point had come. Humanity was no longer just the silent planet of legend. Humanity had proven that their patience was their power, and the galaxy had begun to see them in a new light. The ocean platform was quiet in the early sunlight. Delegates from across the galaxy had witnessed humanity's strength, not through force, but through patience, understanding, and careful choice. Myra stood at the center, her calm presence carrying the weight of centuries of silence now turned into voice. She looked at each delegate in turn. We have spoken. We have shown you what our silence has created. But this is only the beginning. Humanity does not wish to rule. Humanity wishes to be part of the galaxy. We offer our voice, our knowledge, and our cooperation. The delegates were silent. Many had expected arrogance, fear, or even weakness. Instead, they found confidence tempered by humility. They found patience that had grown into wisdom. They found humans ready, not only to be heard, but to listen in return. The historian delegate spoke first. You have changed what we thought we knew. Your silence was not absence. Your patience has become insight. You have taught us something more than knowledge. You have shown us the strength of waiting for the right moment. Myra nodded. Yes. Silence gave us time to grow, to prepare, and to understand. Now that we speak, it is with care and clarity. We choose to join, not to challenge. We choose to share, not to dominate. Even the envoy who had doubted them before stepped forward. You have shown a power we did not expect, they admitted. A power built from learning, patience, and understanding. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. The waves roll gently around the platform, reflecting the sunlight and the colors of the ships above. It was as if the entire world of Earth itself had joined in the moment. The platform, the ocean, and the humans together created a vision of balance and calm that impressed every delegate. Lena, standing with the Kethera crew, whispered to Taro, they waited not for fear, but for the right time. They understood that timing shapes the power of a voice. Taro nodded. And now the galaxy is listening. Not as observers, but as equals. Myra continued, her voice spreading across the platform. We have learned from every world. And now, we offer what we have learned. Knowledge without force, guidance without control, and friendship without expectation. This is our gift. The delegates looked around, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. No one had promised conquest. No one had threatened. Instead, humans had offered understanding as their strength. It was a kind of power that the galaxy rarely recognized. Omar, standing at the edge of the platform, watched the scene unfold. His crew stood with him, proud and in awe. This is what patience can do, he said softly. It turns silence into a voice that cannot be ignored. The winged envoy, who had been cautious since arrival, finally spoke. Perhaps the galaxy has much to learn from humans. Their silence was not absence. Their waiting was preparation. Their voice now is guidance. Myra smiled faintly. We do not wish to guide alone. We wish to share, to participate, and to learn alongside you. Our voice is one among many, but it is honest and ready. The historians, scholars, and delegates exchanged looks. Slowly, the realization spread: humanity had changed how the galaxy viewed them forever. The planet that had been silent for centuries was no longer a mystery. It was a participant, a teacher, and a partner. Outside, the ocean reflected the rising sun. The platform glimmered like a jewel, a meeting place not of power, but of understanding. The humans had taken the first step, and now the galaxy would follow. Myra spoke one last time, her voice carrying hope and certainty. Our silence has ended. Our voice has begun. May this voice be a bridge, a lesson, and a promise. The stars are vast, but together, we can explore them with respect, wisdom, and friendship. The delegates bowed slightly, acknowledging the depth of her words. Some felt relief, others curiosity, but all felt respect. The long silence of Earth had ended not in conflict or fear, but in wisdom and choice. Lena looked at Taro. They changed everything without a single battle. They only spoke. Taro smiled. And in that speaking, they changed the galaxy itself. The sun rose higher, shining across the ocean and the platform. The humans stood tall, calm, and ready. Around them, the fleet of ships from many worlds waited, ready to return home with the knowledge that Earth had spoken. And when they returned, the galaxy would never be the same. The voice of humanity had returned after 250 years. It was clear, steady, and full of purpose. It had taught the galaxy that silence can be strength, patience can be power, and the right moment can change everything. Earth was no longer quiet. Earth had spoken. And in speaking, it had changed the stars.